Good morning. Welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Graddick, your host on this President's Day. And just a little tidbit of nugget before we get started. President's Day was established in 1885 in honor of President George Washington's birthday, February 22nd, 1732. Eventually, the holiday included honoring President Abraham Lincoln, whose birthday is February 12th, 1809. And on January 31st, 1879, Congress added Washington's birthday, February 22nd, to the list of legal holidays to be observed by federal employees in the District of Columbia. So with that, good morning. And we're very pleased to have in studio, this is a treat, we have State Representative David Huddleston of District 72. Good morning, David.
Good morning. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
Well, thank you for coming in. I think the session resumes tomorrow, so we squeezed you in.
That's right. Like I said, it's been a tough schedule, so thank you for working it out to allow me to come in today.
Let me get a little bio out of the way, and then we'll jump into it. State Representative David Huddleston, elected to the House in 2022, serves the citizens of House District 72, which includes portions of Carroll, Hurd, and Troop. Fifth-generation farmer from Carrollton. Currently resides on his family farm in Roopville, where he and his son Andrew operate their cow-calf operation, chicken houses, hay fields, beehives. His greatest accomplishment is working alongside his son and passing down the knowledge, expertise, and drive that it takes to be a farmer. As a state legislator, he is interested in legislation that would encourage small business, local economies, modernize law enforcement equipment, training and techniques, as well as securing resources for local school districts. And furthermore, he seeks to support rural communities through legislation that promotes farming, agricultural, and enhancement initiatives such as broadband. He retired after 36 short years from Carroll EMC. He's also a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, president of the Carroll County Young Farmers Association, past president of Hurd County Cattlemen's Association. It works with UGA extension offices covering 6 counties, 10 area FFA and 4-H programs. It serves on the following 3 committees in the Georgia House Agricultural and Consumer Affairs Committee, Interstate Corporation Committee, and the House Natural Resources and Environment Committee. How about that?
Sounds like very busy.
Busy guy.
Busy.
Before we kind of jump into legislation, probably most people around here don't know exactly where the 72nd district is, but it's a pretty wide-ranging district. Can you give us kind of a description?
Yes. Basically, like I said, the lines did move somewhat back in 2020 when they reapportionment. So basically, I call it South Central Carroll County, basically from the Clem area all the way up by the Ag Center, basically right here where we're at the station, catches the south side of the square, turns up 27 to Wayne Davis, back through to Jonesville Middle, south through Farmers High. So that's that South Central middle of Carroll County, all of Hurd County, and then 27 south to LaGrange, east, other side of Hogansville to the other side, right there to Meriwether County line.
Does it include parts of LaGrange?
It basically goes just back this side. It did at one time, but it's just probably about 3 miles north of the city of LaGrange, kind of right there at Ware's Crossroads, kind of back toward Hogansville.
How long does it take to drive all that?
That's a good story. Basically, I was speaking with a representative back in the summer from up around the Gwinnett area, and he was asking me about my district. And basically, from the top end to the bottom end, probably about an hour and 20 minutes. It'd be from one end to the other, from north side of Carrollton City all the way.
Kind of like a mini congressional district.
Oh, it's long. Yeah. Basically. So yeah, hour and 20 minutes, and within that, you get to thinking in my background history of ag, representing the cattlemen, young farmers, and 4-H and FFA and the schools. I think it was more consolidated there. So you get to thinking, in representation of that, but in that large of a district, you get to thinking I just incorporated within that district 7 cities. 7 city councils, basically 4 police departments, 3 sheriff's departments, 3 commission groups. So that's a lot more folks to get to know and get to work with and to learn their issues at hand to be able to represent them. So going back to the individual I spoke with Gwinnett, he said, my district, I can get anywhere within 15 minutes, and I serve 1 city. Mm-hmm. He said, I don't know how anybody could accomplish that. So over the past year and a half, I've I fully feel that I've worked very hard to get to know the district, to get to know the constituents, to get to know the organizations, the cities, the counties. And I made a comment at a local a couple months ago at a Chamber of Commerce breakfast. I said, I'm starting to gain confidence that I'm getting confidence in representing my district. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, is really being available, being out there to where you can work with them, you understand them, all the businesses, we was talking about small businesses, the school systems, the cities, and I feel that I have gained a lot within that, and I look at having wins, try to check those boxes. Am I accomplishing the needs that I need to achieve to gain their confidence, knowing that they can reach out? And I hopefully feel that I've really worked hard at that, and I had some great response from all those organizations.
How many people in the district?
60,000, 59 something, but I just say 60,000 within the district. And to me, that's the greatest part about being a state rep, is constituent services. And by what I mean of there is, basically you're serving 60,000. I don't ask where you work, where you're from, what you represent. So basically, if the phone rings, my question is, how can I help you? And I've had amazing opportunities over this last year of helping constituents in many different issues.
And so how large is your staff?
You're looking at them.
You're the staff.
Between it and my cell phone.
Well, now, you do get like a part-time secretary at the Capitol or something?
There is an admin there. I'm in a CLOB, Coverdale building, 6th floor, and there's 8 state reps.
Who share one person.
Share one admin. So basically, I am the staff. That's what I tell folks. It's me and my cell phone. People call me up, and I basically, the other day, I'll tell you a quick story. Had a email come in the other morning. I usually get at the Capitol every morning by 6:30. I stay in Atlanta. I tell people the hardest thing for me to do is leave the farm on Sunday afternoon to go to Atlanta. Best thing I do is leave the farm on Sunday afternoon and go to Atlanta, because it allows me to focus on my job as being a state rep for the people, allows my son to focus being on the farm. But as of the other morning, I had an email. I was sitting there reading about 6:30, 7 o'clock. Had some committee meetings, and it was involving the Department of Labor. Guy had some questions, not knowing how to resolve them. So I actually called the Department of Labor, my contact, asked would they follow up with this individual. Called the individual and said, hey, somebody from the Department of Labor should be following up with you. I was on my way home Friday, and it was about 2:30. I got a call from the gentleman, and so I called him back, and he said, he said, somebody reached out to me. I said, I'd hope they would. I called him this morning to follow up with you. He said, well, they're working on it. Thank you so much. He said, he said, you got a minute? I said, yes, sir. He said, in all my years, he's one of my constituents, probably don't live 5 miles from me. I never met him. But he said, in all my years of dealing with government and politicians, he said, you're the first that's ever called me back in person. And I said, thank you so much for that compliment, but it's not the first time I've heard that. And I fully feel that I'm not the politician, but I'm the servant. And you've heard me state that before, and believe in servant leadership. And it's me and my staff, which is me and the phone, is to return those calls to the best of my ability, those emails, to work with constituents, because that's truly why I'm there. And like I said, that's another little check mark in my win column of assisting a constituent that's never had that opportunity before.
We often hear, and I often talk about government bureaucracy. What's been your relationship with all the employees on the state level when you work with the different departments, or you make calls on behalf of your constituents?
I'm gonna say awesome. It's been great.
Has it?
Now here's how I'm gonna relate to that.
Okay.
Year before last, in 22 and 23, I went to most all those. A lot of the state agencies over this last year, all those departments within the Capitol. And basically, I introduced myself, spoke with the director over that department, say, can you introduce me to your employees and allow them to share the jobs they do? That was a lot of work, but it's been amazing, because now when I go back and meet with them, or if I call, guess what? Got that relationship. It's all about relationships of those contacts, knowing that you're there for the good. And I've had nothing but great success of working with all the state governments, because I hopefully feel that they see that I worked hard for them, so they'll work hard for me.
Because if they don't know a state rep and they get this call out of the blue, they're less likely to relate to it. Correct?
You're talking about from the statewide agency?
Yeah, from statewide employees. That helps get things done if they know you.
Well, I think that you're talking about from the statewide agency knowing.
Yeah.
I think basically when you reach out to them, you know that there's a concern there, and you're very caring about it, and they're willing to work with you because, like I said, you're willing to work with them and represent them. It goes back to those relationships. Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're going to take a break, and we'll come back, and we're going to kind of stay, at least for the next segment, a little specific on the legislation that State Representative David Huddleston is working on. But first, let's hear these words and reminder that we're on Facebook Live. Thank you.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
The Entrepreneur Scholar Journey at Oak Mountain Academy is designed to provide students with a clearly defined curriculum-based track to acquire essential knowledge and skills for success in business and leadership. Critical areas include identifying entrepreneurial characteristics, selecting a value position, and business model development. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us on the mountain. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Greidick, your host. I'm very pleased to have in studio David Huddleston. He's taking a break from going to Atlanta because the session starts actually tomorrow, so we were able to squeeze him in. He's active this year. This is his second session, newly elected, but this is his second session, and he's dug down deep. Let's take a look at two pieces of legislation that you have introduced. HB 1099, crimes and offenses, etc., and I'll get you to explain that, and also
Yes.
HB 1274, state veterinary education. So you introduced both these. There's another one or two that we want to talk about
Sure.
that you introduced, but let's go with 1099 first.
Yeah, 1099 is basically it's a very simple bill. I had known about it, but I had gotten with a few landowners, and actually one was a pecan grower. And basically, what this does, this is in Title 16. It's basically a criminal trespass. But what we're looking at doing is we're adding language in there for the property owner to identify property lines of criminal trespass. And basically, what that's doing is placement of signs posted and on property and identifying purple paint marks. So basically, it's kind of been nicknamed purple paint law.
Okay, for us
So
ignorant types, purple paint.
Yep. So basically, within that, I talked with the DNR, and so adding the language in here of signs and or purple paint markings that identifies the same as a no trespassing sign. So why would you do that? So basically, a lot of these large landowners, you get to thinking signs are so expensive. So if somebody goes to criminal trespass, a lot of times they'll get that sign, they'll throw it, they'll steal it, whatever may be occur, and so basically you can utilize paintball purple marks to identify the same as a sign
On a tree or something?
on a tree, a post, and basically I've put the verbiage in there. There's 15 other states in the country that does that. All southeastern states has already got language within that code, other than Georgia. So basically, it would just be consistent with all the southeastern
Why not
states.
red?
Well, it's just within the consistency within the industry, purple paint. I actually spoke to a guy the other day that was out in Wyoming hunting, and I mentioned purple paint. He said, "Oh yeah, we see that all the time." He said it's more visible. Purple paint's more visible than a sign.
I mean,
so,
because if you got even if you got a metal rod stake
That's
or
right.
whatever, then those things get lost or overgrown, and
That's
they're
right.
hard to find.
right. So basically, you can put it's minimum 1 inch wide, 8 inch long. 3 to 5 feet off the ground, and basically, I think it's more economical and environmental friendly for the landowner. So basically, I've worked with the forestry associations, all the ag groups, the realtors group, and everybody's in favor for it because it basically identifies, the property line for criminal trespass. Basically, by adding language into this, from what I've been told by the DNR, I was told if you went out and had you always see these posted no trespassing signs.
Yeah.
They said basically if the DNR say they come out game warden, somebody's trespassing, it would just have to give a verbal warning the first time because that becomes their warning. By adding language to this code, the warning is there. It's within law. So now the DNR has a little bit more to stand upon when they go out there. They can make a citation within criminal trespass.
When you say purple paint, you're talking about purple painting trees?
You can put a mark on a tree, a post, a gate, for whatever it may be, and that same purple paint mark identifies as a no trespassing sign.
And so up to this point in time in Georgia, that hadn't been the case.
That's correct. All the southeastern states, it's already in their language. So basically, we would just have a transition period of educating the public. But I imagine it's just like the gentleman I spoke to the other day. A lot of people is already aware of it, but it just gives that opportunity for that landowner to either do a sign, do paint, or do nothing.
Well, I live out in the woods, so this is like I'm interested in this. And when a property line can be identified by 100 different things almost.
Right.
And then as time goes on, that wooden stake goes away.
Well, and this right here, like I said, that's right. And basically this right here, this bill was, like I said, brought by some landowners. Said, hey, because they was aware of it from other states. But actually, like I said, this, and it goes back to working relationships. This bill was actually introduced back in 2017 by Senator Anderson. It had gotten through the Senate side, got into the House, and just kind of never come out of committee, probably ran out of time. So basically, the Forestry Association had some questions and concerns. So part of that relationship is I actually went back to them, and they actually, on line 36, that's some of their actual language that they added in that they were comfortable with. So now I've got them on board. So it goes back, like you said, it's just working with those agencies within those relationships to get things across the finish line. So yeah, it's hopefully it'll move forward.
Okay, let's go to the other legislation. You introduced House Bill 1274, state veterinary education.
Yes, basically that right there is like I said, with my ag background, I was actually in Perry back in August. And I said, sometimes you need to be careful what you say, where you say it. And basically I was down there and we was talking about in the Georgia Grown building, had Commissioner Tyler Harper, had Chairman Robert Dickey from the Ag Committee, had Brent Credell from the Veterinary School of Medicine at UGA, and had a handful of veterinarians along with many other legislators and folks there conversating.
Now, ABAC is down there too.
It
right?
is.
Okay.
So basically within veterinary medicine, what we have seen is a dire need in the rural communities of Georgia. And my comment was, I said, School of Veterinary Medicine is great, and it's great in Georgia, but we are struggling. And they said, how's that? I said, basically, we are in a dire need of large animal food industry vets within the rural communities of Georgia. You get thinking a lot of these vets are in mixed practices, say, of small animal, because, like I said, financially, that's, I guess, can stay more in the office and make more financially versus going out to the farm. So basically, we're in a dire need, like I said, because that week, me being a farmer, I assisted 3 other farms that week within assisting them within, I'm going to say veterinary needs, but just assisting them within issues they may have. So basically what this is an existing program that was basically in 2016 that got started. And basically it was to where a graduating student could utilize some tuition reimbursement opportunities to as long as they would serve as a large animal food industry vet. It's work, but I think we're enhancing it to make it work a little better, a little faster. What we've done within this right here is basically we're doing a 3-year program versus a 1-year program. We've actually upped the dollars from $18,000 to $25,000 per year per student. Basically what this does, and basically if it's we had in there, and I had to learn from it. You got that graduating student that has some loan debt, but basically we put it in there as long as you've been serving less than 10 years as a active vet. So I said, I was curious about that. Well, you get to thinking, Harrison County has no vets, Heard County has no vets. In Carroll County, if I'm not mistaken, there's 38 vets of small animal practice. So you may have somebody that's serving in a small animal practice that has existing debt from school that may say, hey, I'm willing to serve as a large animal food industry vet.
When we say Harrelson and Herd don't have any vets, you're talking about large animal vets.
Yeah,
okay.
Yes. So and it's like I said, you're thinking within those counties, and let me back up. So basically within that is we designated, I think, 43 counties. It was 35,000 population, less than 50,000 population. So basically that would allow an existing vet to apply for the program and then basically as long as they would serve 20 hours a week in those designated counties. So hopefully this right here will, and it comes down to appropriation of dollars. So basically there, hopefully within, we're going to do 5 vets, say the first year, add another 5 the second year, add another 5 the 3 year, because it's a 3-year program. So hopefully within 3 years we can have 15 veterinarians have those opportunities, hopefully to serve in those rural communities.
Is agricultural still the number one industry in Georgia?
Absolutely.
How are we doing in terms of agricultural education across the state?
I think we're doing very well. I think with the programs that you see within schools, middle school, high schools, it's like in Carroll County, all the high schools has ag programs. And then basically I think ultimately it's the recruitment of getting them in those ag programs, knowing that we was talking about generations earlier. The average age of that farmer is 58. Guess what? I'm 59. I'm fixing to be 59, so I'm that average age farmer. So I think it takes not only of education in the state, but it's the individuals like myself willing to commit and work with younger individuals to know that the education will be here for years to come. Ag education will be here for years to come.
Our guest this morning is David Huddleston, State Rep, District 72. If you have any questions, we're on Facebook Live. We thank you for watching and listening. And we'll be back with more with David after this.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
Oak Mountain Academy is an innovative school of academic excellence celebrating over 61 years. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to join us on the mountain to see our mission and vision in action. Academic excellence, a faith-based environment, and dynamic opportunities are just a few of the reasons our families choose Oak Mountain Academy. Academic scholarships and tuition assistance are available. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Welcome back to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Graddick, your host. We're very pleased to have David Huddleston, District 72 State Rep, and we kind of got a agricultural vibe going on, right?
That's what it seems like.
And now you've just been appointed. I mean, this is a very important appointment. Conservation Committee, tell us about that.
Yeah, basically, we've heard here locally, like I said, within federal programs and local programs of like farmland conservation. Basically, it's just preservation of farmland. And a lot of times I talk about preservation of farmland. It's not only of the farmland itself, but it goes back to what we just mentioned earlier about ag education and individuals. I mean, it's the next generation. I mean, that's the preservation part of it. But basically, Georgia saw a need, basically, of preservation of farmland because of the urban growth and that type of thing there in different parts of the community of Georgia. No different we look at here in Carroll County. Basically, they come up with an advisory committee that'll fall under the Department of Ag that basically look at farmland conservation fund. And what this does is basically, allows those opportunities for those folks to put it in conservation and get some monies toward that. And I feel that, like I said, being that I was appointed Secretary of the Agricultural Committee at state level, I have the great opportunity of actually being on this advisory committee and representation of the House. So I'm the only one from the House side that actually be on this advisory committee to work along with conservation.
Well, the future of Georgia is really dependent on how well we can preserve and enhance agriculture. Otherwise, the whole state's going to become Metro Atlanta, and as you can tell, I ain't real happy about that.
Well, and the thing there is, like I said, my utility background side is pretty much, sustainable, power, sustainable energy. But I think something that I think not only of preservation of farmland that I think it's kind of on the front burner to be looked at is you get to thinking it's a lot of these, you hear about these solar farms. Well, are they farms or solar fields?
Yeah.
So in South Georgia, you get to thinking these peanut growers, cotton growers, whatever, that has these large amounts of flat farmland. that for the amount of dollars that they may make in producing, say, peanuts, they may have a greater opportunity of making more dollars of leasing that piece of property out for these solar opportunities. Well, it goes back to, you mentioned that supporting a small business. What we've got to look at there is not to say that not to do it, but it's to look at it to go that there's a great balance between using farmland as, or land for sustainable energy, but also it's preserving the farmland there also. So the thing there is a lot of those South Georgia counties that has had those solar opportunities, when you got thousands and thousands of acres that's going under, you got to look at the forefront of saying, what's it doing to small business? Mm-hmm. So now between the fuel, the tires, the feed, fertilizer, parts, the small business may be impacted. So we want to just make sure it's a great balance for the need of the working folks of Georgia. So, yeah.
Give me, just because we're going to run out of time and we have the most important legislation to address, but give me about 20 seconds. I understand you and Tyler Paul are working on cattle thefts.
Yeah, Tyler come up with it last year. Basically, it's a bill that he introduced actually in committee the other day. Basically, a lot of times, are there enough laws on the books or change laws on the books? But a lot of times it's no different than what I'm working on with the veterinary assistance reimbursement program. It's just updating it. So basically, he come up with the it's a criminal, I guess, a trespass basically of livestock theft, because the livestock market, the industry that has increased in value of the cattle, and there are parts of the country where people are stealing cattle and taking. So we're just having to change the format of number one, of the trespass, the criminal offense of livestock theft, but then also just making sure at the livestock barns that when somebody comes and delivers, it's just like yesterday. I took some to the local sale, and they actually asked me to sign my ticket, which is a good thing.
They say that we can't agree on certain things, but at least Georgians can agree on House Bill 1048. Cornbread is the official state bread.
That's a good. A lot of times you get thinking it does. Those my days are 12, 13-hour days up there. It does get very serious, and sometimes you do just need to be able to have a chuckle and have a good laugh and enjoy and know that you're doing some good. Say, and basically the sponsor, Casey Carpenter, come up with this bill, and he's a restaurant owner, and like I said, making cornbread the official bread of the state of Georgia, and he asked me to sign it. So when I read it, I told him, I said, I am going to sign it, and I'm going to tell you why. I said, my dad would be very honored for me to sign a bill stating that cornbread would be the official bread, because to my knowledge, he probably ate cornbread every day of his life. Mm-hmm. So he's in heaven now, so I know he'd just be excited about it.
Someone needs to get in touch with State Representative David Huddleston. How should they go about it?
Absolutely. Like I said, being availability is the thing. My number is 445351110, or you can reach out to my house email account. It's david.huddleston@house.ga.gov. And like I said, look forward to working with you and look forward to continuing and serving the people.
Well, I hope you'll come back after the session's over. I appreciate you coming in during the session. That's a cool thing. We're very much appreciative of that. And we'd like to thank our sponsors, Oak Mountain Academy and Tanner Health System. And we wish you a happy President's Day. Go out and make it a great day. You're in tune to WLBB Carrollton.